Hey, hi. How's it going? If you've been here before and you're back for more, I appreciate you to my very core. But if you're new here, welcome. My name is Becca, and I tell your own personal paranormal experiences through short stories. If you have a personal paranormal experience that you'd like me to share and be featured on this channel, make sure to message me on Instagram. The link is in the bio. Without further ado, here is today's story. Leondra was born in 2002 and she lived in New York City with her mom and dad. Unfortunately, at a very young age for Leondra, her parents both filed for divorce. After her parents filed for divorce, Leondra grew up extremely close to her mother, but completely fell out of touch with her dad. In fact, she grew up out of touch out of everybody on her dad's side of the family except for her grandmother. From the time of the divorce, Leondra would share phone calls with her grandmother as her grandmother didn't live extremely close to Leondra and her mother, but every week her grandmother would call her and just stay in touch with her. When Leondra was about 2 to 3 years old, she remembers having this very vivid and distinct dream. In this dream, Leondra would be laying in her crib and she would look through the slats of the crib out towards the rocking chair that was right next to her crib. In the rocking chair would be this woman in white, and she was rocking in the rocking chair while singing her lullabies. This wasn't just a one-time dream. This was something that happened quite frequently throughout her developmental years as a young child. So as Leondra grew up, she remembered this dream and confronted her mom about this dream that she would have when she was younger. As Leondra is describing this woman in white rocking in the rocking chair, her mother interrupts her to tell her that she had almost experienced the exact same thing. Leondra's mom would explain that when you were a newborn, I had placed you onto a changing table to change your diaper, when out of nowhere I felt this full body chill. So I quickly turned around because it felt like someone was standing behind me, and in front of me was this tall, slender woman in a white dress and long, dark hair. Leondra's mom would explain that as fast as she appeared, she disappeared. So it was for a very brief moment, but she knew what she had just seen. Leondra's mom would also go on to explain that there were several times where she would be walking by Leondra's bedroom with no one in her bedroom, but would notice that the rocking chair was moving by itself. So both Leondra and her mom were kind of freaked out at the similarities between their experiences, but ultimately just brushed it off as a really weird thing that had happened. Fast forward 13 years, and Leondra is now 16 years old, and she has gained the courage to go and meet her paternal grandmother, who she's spoken to on the phone all these years, in person. When she arrived at her grandmother's house, it was like she knew this woman. She knew her inside and out, even though she hadn't been physically present in her life. So Leondra and her grandmother are getting situated on the couch, and her grandmother looks to Leondra and says, "You know what? Why don't we pull out some family albums and I can show you all the people that have been absent from your life?" Now, Leondra knew that this was going to be quite the emotional experience, as the majority of these people she was about to see in the photo albums have been completely absent from her life with zero contact. But she also knew it was something that she needed to do. She needed to know her family's history and her heritage, even if they weren't going to share that with her. So she looks over to her grandma and explains to her that she would actually be quite excited to see the family albums. So her grandma got up off the couch, went to the basement, retrieved the family albums, brought them back up, and placed them on the table sitting in front of the couch. So a couple of hours have gone by at this point, and they're still flipping through the family photo albums when her grandmother flips the page and Leondra recognizes the woman in the photo, stops her grandma from flipping the photos any further, and points at the woman and says, "I know her." Her grandmother would go on to explain that, "No, you don't know her. This was my daughter who passed away before you were born from heart complications." But Leondra knew this was the woman who would sit in the rocking chair in her room when she was a younger girl and sing her lullabies while she was in her crib. And in the photograph, she was wearing the exact same dress that she was wearing when she was in the rocking chair. It was at this point where Leondra was very confused. Was it a dream that I had had when I was younger? Or was this someone I was actually seeing? Leondra would go on to explain what she experienced when she was younger in her room. And Leondra's grandmother was quite taken back, as Leondra had never met her daughter. And in fact, Leondra's parents were about 7 years old at the time when she had passed away. So Leondra was completely dumbfounded. She definitely recognized this woman. So what she did is she took a picture of the photograph so that she could show her mother when she returned home from her trip. When Leeondra returned home from her trip at her grandmother's, she presented this photo that she had taken on her phone to her mom. Without giving her any context as to what the picture represented, she presented it to her mom and said, "Do you know this woman?" Leondra's mom stood there with this blank expression. She knew exactly who that woman was. She looked up to Leeondra and said, "That is the woman that appeared in your room when you were a newborn and I was changing your diaper." Leeondra and her mother stood there in silence as they kind of grasped their heads around the fact that A, Leeondra wasn't having dreams. She was seeing her Aunt Alana. And B, the apparition that appeared in her bedroom when she was a newborn was also Aunt Alana. Leeondra would then go on to explain the relationship that this Aunt Alana had to her and her family to her mother. Following this newfound information, Leeondra started experiencing dreams and very vivid dreams right around her birthday that involved her Aunt Alana. To this day, every single birthday that Leeondra has, Aunt Alana has a way of appearing in her dreams. So every year, Leeondra looks forward to seeing her Aunt Alana. If you enjoyed today's recording, please leave a like or a comment. It's super rewarding. Wishing you nothing but a beautiful, blissful day. See you all on Friday. Bye-bye.